All right. We're here.
We're here. We're live.
We're doing it.
Fridays with Bryan on a Saturday.
With Bryan.
Transparency. Oh, here we go.
Well,
Look at all these beautiful faces out
wouldn't
here
be
out
Friday.
front of Everything Frederick on Saturday. Here we have the Goth Bakery Company and Twisted Ivy out front of Everything Frederick here on Saturday. I see Mr. Carl. This is a regular guy that I see downtown for years, out just purveying some of the breads.
There's a whole rack of people out
baked
there.
goods. There's a whole rack of people, and there's a whole rack
of bread.
There's a whole rack of me here too. My eyes are up here, everybody.
Hey, eyes on the prize.
But yeah, these baked goods are for sale. Anyway,
and these ones are not. Hey.
no, these are.
Oh,
are
those
for
ones
sale.
are for sale
Oh my
too?
God.
Oh, okay.
I will
didn't
take
know.
the highest
Well,
bidder.
In that case, link below.
Oh, come on.
Cash app below.
Yeah, seriously, I will add that here in this general vicinity.
We'll sell this spot
America.
while we're on the
Captain
show.
America. I was born in Gettysburg. I was born in Gettysburg. I am American. I'm a Venezuelan American, born in Gettysburg. I'm a
Venezuelan
Latino neurodivergent.
What does neurodivergent mean?
To me, it means some stuff happened that allowed me to think a little differently than most people.
Okay.
I think that's where the divergent part is. I think my brain is divergent of the general norm of thinking, and I think that because I have ability to talk about it, I think that's why it's neurodivergent. I think when you're on a different part of the spectrum and you're not able to, I think, talk about it in a specific way that is, I don't know, maybe more objective. I don't mind being a little objective about myself. I don't have a lot to hide about who I am.
Self-awareness is everything.
I think I've practiced being vulnerable in enough situations in my life that I think I know who I am and I can manage the world. So I don't have to hide too much. And if I did hide a lot, I think it would push people away more. I think being a 6 foot tall, voluptuous Hispanic man.
Hold on a second.
I don't know. What was that?
What did he say?
That note, like I know I'm allowed to know that. I'm allowed to know what I look like and be aware of that. And I don't know Bad Bunny's music very much, but I see and hear about how it's like there's a cultural part of Latino culture where we are allowed to recognize our beauty.
Yeah.
And I grew up in the United States being Latino, and I've watched a whole world that is just like, you're too beautiful, and if you act too beautiful, we're gonna punish you for it. We're gonna punish you for it.
Look what I go through on a daily basis, Bryan.
Yeah, and so
Bryan,
I
you're
just
a beautiful man.
Don't let anybody punish me for it, and then that's my fault.
Can I say that from a non-Latino person, a white person, very white person, I thought I don't know anything about Bad Bunny or their culture or anything about Venezuela. I know nothing about any of it. But what I saw, I'm just saying, what I saw during that whole thing was just people that were so happy to see their flag on the TV screen.
Oh my God, the pride.
And to be represented. And I'm an American. I can only imagine how it would feel if I had to flee America because we were at war, go to a different country, and then to see my American flag being represented. Okay, so I feel like if people could just get their head out of their buttholes and be more open to loving everybody and being respectful. You
Absolutely.
know, why is it so hateful that they love something about their culture? Why can't we, as Americans who are so prideful, understand that?
But there's a difference. There's a difference in I think I've had the opportunity, I'm mixed ethnicity. I'm German, Irish, Venezuelan, and my culture from whiteness is from my father's side, and my culture from my Hispanic side is from my mom, who came to this country when she was 18 or 19 in the late 60s, and then was at a time there, had her papers taken, and she was kept as a live-in nanny.
Wow.
Caretaker. And so this is not getting too deep into all of her story, which we can talk about some other time. But this history, my mom's journey here led to human trafficking moment where she was rescued from this situation. And the way she tells the story, it sounds like any movie you would ever see, where somebody meets her and says, hey, one day next week, I need you to take the trash out, and there's going to be a taxi cab waiting for you. Some lady just took the trash out across the street when I said take the trash out.
That was super weird. I saw that.
I have moments like that all the time.
I do too.
Oh my God, I love it.
We're
it just
in the
means you're
Matrix.
in the manifestation. We're in the manifestation.
Matrix.
I told my mom a long time ago, and just to be totally transparent, I haven't talked to my mom in maybe a year right now. Like just that's other family stuff that is transpiring that is part of this neurodivergent kind of approach to dismantling and reassembling my world around me for the last all of my life, it feels like. So anyway, she was able to get out of that situation. A taxi showed up. She said she wrote a very small note, packed a very small bag, I think, like a lunch bag of things. She never had a lot.
Wow.
And got into a car, and the car took her somewhere for a long drive. And apparently it wasn't that far. And when she got there, this woman that had this all orchestrated, like reamed out the taxi driver and then put her up in like a hotel with a bed and a TV and it sounds like My Fair Lady kind of moment, but I don't think it went like that. But she was able to then go and then have a life. She reached out to these people, went through legal channels and got her papers and made sure she was stayed a citizen. But, everybody talks about undocumented immigrants and documented immigrants. Like I can tell you that my mom, she attests, like I came through Ellis Island. I was a documented immigrant. And so, but when you look at the story of why she was documented to be brought here and then used as this live-in, worker, and there's other words that people use to describe this kind of work, and I'm just saying that is it best that she was documented to become a slave in the United States, or are we using this term documented and undocumented just as this blanket statement to try and disparage a certain number of people? And I think if you look at all the other documents that are coming out in the world, when we're documenting stuff, it's usually there's still a lot of garbage going on. Okay, so documented or not, like now we don't want the documents,
right?
Of all this stuff. So like if Jeffrey Epstein stuff was undocumented, like everybody would be so happy right now. Like we would love the undocumented Epstein files.
Pretty much making it so that
it's warm in here, everybody.
Yeah, they're like deciding whether it's the documentation is going to be seen or not too. And I can't believe that our Congress is literally protecting them. I mean, I guess they're protecting themselves, Yeah. That's the thing. But
everybody's like, we need to get legislation changed. And then you're like, we need to change the legislation by the people who are listed in the documents that are then supposed to be the executive to enforce those then laws that are supposed to be created to disparage the people who are doing the crimes. Are we in? This sounds like I'm in Alice in Wonderland, and we just went down some rabbit hole here,
yeah, it's wild.
But
I think that if you go back to talking about Bad Bunny, go back to talking about where we started with this conversation.
Beautiful things. That's where I like to talk about beautiful things.
Yeah, let's go back to that because I feel like I am definitely one of the people that I try to keep an open mind. I try to keep an open mind about everything. I really do. But I am centered in my own beliefs, and I have a very, strong moral grounding of what I believe. But that doesn't mean that I need to enforce my beliefs on other people to respect them. And I feel like that is really the main problem we have right now is that if I don't believe what you believe, then I hate you and you're dumb and everything is terrible about you. It's like, it doesn't have to be like that, people.
Right.
Why can't we just show a little support and love for people? Because we're all human beings. We're all one type of creature. Believe it or not, we all have the same organs and blood and everything is all under the skin. We're all created in equality, and it's crazy that people don't see it that way, but
right.
here we are.
We're in this test case humanity. Like we're always testing a new version of our humanity. It's always an experiment. So like humanity is just this crazy experiment mutation from whatever we began as, and we're now in this new phase of humanity. And so for me, if you just step back and you look at it like Lord of the Flies, like which just says, like what happens to humanity when they're in stressful situations? Mm-hmm. How do we revert back? How do we support each other? What do we become?
Becomes a hierarchy almost instantly.
And so what is the leading hierarchy? What is the purpose of our goal? Who are we to become? I want to do something real quick before we keep going. I see Isabella in the background, my daughter.
Yeah.
And I don't want her to be videotaped the whole time.
Okay.
On the thing. So, but I want to bring her up and I want her to say hi. Bella, can you come over here real quick?
Here, just have her pop in my seat for a minute.
Okay. I just want to say hi to her real quick. All right. We're putting her on for a couple moments here. I said that I'm a Latino neurodivergent father of daughters. This is my youngest daughter, Isabella. Can you say hi?
Hello.
Get closer.
Hello.
Yeah. Hi, Isabella. She's 12 and she is with me this weekend and here during recording time in this safe space that is the Everything Frederick, the home of Everything Frederick. We've been coming up here for a while. When this first opened, I was looking at just trying to start to engage with this group here, and we would just take walks up here and come and hang out and say hi. I think I'm a lot of my belief systems have been guided by being a father of daughters for 23 years. And I think one of my favorite things that I kind of hold valuable is bringing your children along with you in what you're doing. I think, we're talking about this Lord of the Flies world that we're in. And then I always hear people, I'm never having children in this society right now. But like children have to be made or we're not going to have any more society. Does that make sense? Okay, so we have to keep having children in our society. And so my thing is the only way to quell this buzzing of the Lord of the Flies situation where everybody's kind of like going nuts is we have to start showing people how we people again and bring our children along. And so I like bringing her along. We go on walks downtown. Today's beautiful in Frederick. We're going to take a walk downtown. We're going to walk over to the home show later at the fairgrounds, and we're going to try and engage with some people there and just be present and out in the world and meeting people. And so I know, do you have anything you'd like to say, Bella, about anything at all?
Not really.
Okay. Well, welcome. Thanks for being with me. Thanks for hanging out with me this weekend for our weekend together. And I'm going to give it back to Carolyn.
Okay.
I think she's on her way back around. Anyway, thank you.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye. So I'm this dad of daughters, and I was talking about how I'm the middle child of this family that kind of got slammed together in society. These two cultures that were also built out of subcultures. So like who my father was and who my mother was. Like my mom was raising children since she was a little girl. She was 5 years old, taking care of siblings as a parent. She was parentified as a child and grew up as an immigrant who came to a country, didn't know the culture. There's a lot of just generational steps there when you start to step back and look at it. And then looking at my daughter and the next generation of brilliant people, of neurodivergence, of children that have grown from these great steps that we're making as humanity to come forward, but we're in America, Captain America here. I'm from Gettysburg.
Captain Camouflage over here.
Captain Camouflage from Michigan. We're moving at a pace of humanity where we're never actually slowing down to process the trauma that we're experiencing, and it's getting passed along, until you get to a point where we're in survival mode. We're this Lord of the Flies society, and I can qualify that in bigger ways or smaller ways or more focused ways, but and then we're banging into each other and causing so much destruction. And rather than like, why aren't we looking at our own individual beauty and blowing it up and being like, yo, I'm Bad Bunny. I'm like, I don't think I'm Bad Bunny. I'm mildly, naughty, bear maybe.
Well, I think on that conversation, I think that there is a pull in both sexes, right? To be either chased after or sought after. Like women are seeking attention, you know what I mean, and validation. And I feel like through social media, we've created these people that are uncomfortable posting something without a filter. They're uncomfortable going out in public without makeup and stuff on, or, wearing a lot of really scandalous clothing. And if they don't get enough likes, or if somebody says something negative about them, it destroys their ego and sense of self-worth. And I think that we can only find value if we're investing in ourselves, right? And the things that I've learned, and I'm telling you this from experience and being in that position where I'm seeking validation from people through social media, I can tell you that you will be constantly filling an empty cup. It's never going to make you feel fulfilled until you feel like you're enough inside. And I feel like the lack of quality time with parents when we're kids, the lack of, not because the parents don't want to do it, but because they're not allowed to. They're not capable of it. They don't have the time management. They don't have the time to invest in their kids like that. And
I think that right there is the point. That's the bomb right there, right? Like to blow up and then go and figure out, like, where do we solve this? We're creating continued generations of children surviving their parents is what's happening, and are surviving their parental experience. I have two generations of children. I have a 22-year-old and a 12-year-old, and so there's difference in who I was during those times. I'm the middle of 5 children, so each one of us had a different experience with our set of parents, and I have other friends who have shared their experience in their homes of the dynamics, intimate information to understand. And then so for me, I grew up at this time of year. March is such a wild time. I was talking about it earlier. Like, it's this disruptive time. There's a lot of things that have happened in this period in March. Like, we're at the 6 years of COVID. So there's this time of March. For me, a lot of things have happened. I started working in retail at 17, right about this time, a few years ago. And
what kind of retail?
I worked in a grocery store, and so I was up front most of the time.
I think you mentioned that on the last episode, right?
Yeah, so now, like, I worked there for 13 years. I left. I worked in laboratory science for 11 years, and then I found my way in this post-COVID time back to managing in retail again. So I'm a systems manager is how I approach it now, rather than I'm a corporate drone trying to chase dollars or endpoints. It's a lot
more operational, it seems like.
Right.
Right now, right?
The way that my brain is managing it for my best self is I have to be like, I'm managing systems that I can either support or they don't want to be supported. And like, that's how you are as a parent, is like, you're managing systems. Can you hold up all the systems? What systems are you able to manage and are you able to not? Can you do all of them? Is it better to try to do all of them poorly or do some of them better? And so,
I was talking about this earlier with someone that we were talking about how, if you go to a restaurant and someone cooks you some food, go to like Wendy's or, fast food or just a Waffle House or something, get some food from somebody that's just working there to make a paycheck, okay? Versus if you go to a restaurant where you have a chef that stayed up last night trying to perfect his sauce recipe. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, the difference in the food will keep you coming back because that person is an artist. Like, they found their calling, they found their gift, they're in their self-awareness, self-actualization phase of life, really.
Yeah.
So that's what we're all seeking, right? And I feel like anymore, it's almost like we, without trying other stuff, there's no effort. The people are lacking effort and then wondering why they're not satisfied, but they're not investing in themselves. They're not even making the effort in themselves, and then they want to be saved. Everyone wants to be saved right now.
But that's
It's
a survival. That's a survival mode. That like those behaviors are very much like toned and created through overwhelm and survival practices. So I wrote here systems. Like I'm a
you
systems
guys got to see his
person.
note. Hold on a
Oh
second.
my God!
Just
don't.
look at his handwriting.
Oh, you're going to show.
This
him
is why
some-
he gets his own podcast.
People are gonna-
because he's a madman.
the one page says orgasms.
Yeah.
It says believe.
I'm learning how to use the buttons, people.
And
We're
this
getting
one
better.
says the Strait of Hormuz.
What does
'cause
that mean?
The Strait of Hormuz is like where they're holding up all the gas tankers in Iran.
Oh.
And then underneath it, so somebody's going to pause this, and I have to explain it. Somebody's going to pause it and
Google
go,
that.
what is he writing? And I probably spelled it wrong, but I know that
He spelled
there's
it
this,
like whore.
No.
Like you're a
Underneath
whore.
it, underneath it, I wrote I said straight whoremouth because there's a joke here, and I'm trying to write the joke. So like, I just want you guys to know that I'm in between a Strait of Hormuz and straight whoremouth.
Got it.
To end the war. And to
He's a comedian too, everybody. We all know he's a comedian.
We need Okay, anyway.
No,
and then
come
this says believe in orgasms. It's not a myth. It's not right. Like believe in her orgasm. It's not a myth. It's not like the chupacabra. Okay.
No, it's not.
It's like a chupakitty. So, and then orgasms as currency, like we should be chasing them like that's the current, like we're getting a payoff.
I have a question for
anyway,
you. So if you had an opportunity to be a female and to have a day as a female, like just for 24 hours, like say we switched, bodies for 24 hours.
Okay. I'm with you.
Have you thought about this before?
I've maybe have thought about. I have daughters, and I have to try to see the world from their shoes, and so I have.
I had this conversation with someone. Like, what would you do in the female body for 24 hours? What would you do?
I would get done up.
Yeah, dressed up,
girl.
Get them hair done.
I would just
nails
and
did.
I would go out.
I mean,
and I would pull so much tail. And then I would turn them all down.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Just like an ultimate day of
and then in
your power.
And this is going to give it away.
Mm-hmm.
And like I've been watching Loki with my daughter, and it talks about variance. But I'd find myself out in the world, and we'd go to town.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I feel like as a man, I feel bad for...
right now. There's no guy I think I would run towards and be like, oh, you're the guy who's going to bust my one day cherry,
right. I just
without really giving it some thought, if I...
Yeah, I thought simple. I was thinking more simple. Like, that's really deep. Like, you just blew my mind with that, which I was expecting you to. I honestly came with that question loaded for ready.
I know
for a
what
wild
body
answer.
I'd have too, but like I'm just saying, like I'm totally happy with my male body. I know I've thought about this enough. I know after raising two daughters for 23 years, and then being this man who cares for women in the world, and has found like there's so much validation for me being a safe place for many people in the world. I know that holding myself in this place in the world is not easy for me because of what I was trained I was supposed to become and do and be this, one trick pony. And
do you think life is supposed to be easy?
Oh no. So that's why, because I know how my mom got here. So I was inside of my mom's body when she was going through the trauma of coming to this country. Like epigenetics says that I was
you were traumatized too
inside of her ovary, and she actually was carrying me. And the DNA and studies are showing that this is true. So all of the things that she experienced actually are mapped to my DNA.
Yeah, 100%. Even down to music she listened to, all of that kind of stuff, the hobby she had, the food she ate.
Right. It's
everything.
so anytime Hispanic music comes on, no, I'm just kidding.
Do you shake it?
No, I wish. I try. If anybody out there could teach me how to shake it, please.
I can teach you how to dance. I can teach you how to Dougie.
Okay.
Teach me how to Dougie. Can you?
Anyway.
So if I were a boy, I would want to pee standing up. That was like one of the first things. I think it would be fun to like just hold my pee and go pee on a tree or something
Okay.
outside,
All
100%.
right.
And then simply walk around without a shirt on, I think would be very like satisfying, just to get sun on my chest and nipples and like not feel like I'm being judged walking around without a shirt on. Because I hate wearing clothes. Like if I could be naked, sleep naked, I would love to just be.
I'm telling you, when I take my shirt off, these titties are flapping. So
That's what I'm saying, though. But
I'm
who
sorry.
cares? Like, who cares?
I
just
do
feel like
have been thinking about this a lot lately, and I want to do a post, like a picture series where I'm
Were you
topless
working
with
out?
these big tits.
Do it.
And I think I'm going to, and I just want to put it out there and being like, how
doesn't
am I
matter.
allowed to keep these out here, and all these other girls have to keep them all wrapped up? I think the trend is braless. I have a good friend who just transitioned from being more bra-y into less bra-y, and I loved seeing that. I love seeing it, but I also just love seeing the openness to make that choice and being like, you know what, this is natural. Why aren't we being more natural? And I think
it's
we
so
need to
much
get back
bigger
there.
of a deal than that. Like the bras that we're wearing are actually causing us breast cancer and problems with our breasts and problems with our glands in our breasts and causing like. I have had, my doctor has told me that I cannot wear underwire bras anymore because of the way it is literally created like a mass in my glands in my breast from the wires in my bra over
Holding
the years.
the pressure against
the pressure
that.
holding
Yeah.
up against and pushing in on your breast on
Yeah.
that armpit where you have all the glands there. Like it's so bad for us, and we just like, oh, we have to look a certain way, and it's like, why? Who told us we had to do that? I don't understand that at all.
I did a 5K with a friend of mine, and her bra busted, and she's busty, and
That would be
and
difficult.
she was stabbed. She was stabbed, like the whole time until like the end. And she's like, "Oh yeah, I did feel that, and I just didn't stop." And
I would
I'm
have
like,
stopped and grabbed some duct tape or something and taped them babies down and kept going.
I was gonna hold them, and she
Just
was
run
faster
behind
than
her.
me, so I couldn't do it.
Well, the other thing I was going to say, we were talking about just sexuality and like becoming a man or becoming a woman. One thing I think that men don't really ever get to experience is a female orgasm. Like, I think that men are really... I mean, I'm
Like feeling
curious.
it
Like
or
that would
creating
be no.
one?
I'm saying like generally. Like
Like
I think
being in
that
the
would be one
presence
of
of
my
one?
biggest. No, being
Oh.
in my biggest curiosity would be to feel a male orgasm. Like if I
Oh,
was a man,
yeah.
I would want to feel what it feels like. And then, but then I don't think men should do that because you're going to be so disappointed. Because I feel like the female orgasm is so much more powerful than the male orgasm.
Yeah, but like I
But you still want to experience it.
Oh yeah.
The rest of your life will be.
I've experienced it as much as I think any normal man should ever experience it in one lifetime,
right.
in one night. Sometimes, like so. Like I'm not. I'm very. I'm like if an orgasm was Tinkerbell and we have to believe in it, like we're all flying. Okay. Like that's what I like.
A little bit of pixie dust.
You already if you believe in it, you're gonna get there. And so like to me, like I believe in it, and I believe in it because like I'm gonna have a better one if she's having them. And I'm not talking about like, all right, we're gonna get there, we're gonna get to one, and then the thing is like
confidence
when you
is big.
When you build the expectation that she knows she'll get there, you're already in a place where the rest of them can happen.
Yeah,
and
I mean, if you don't warm up the oven,
right. And so
you're
the
cooked.
thing is men aren't warming up the oven for years,
Right.
days before, and like literally saying hello, remembering someone's name, talking to them, calling them,
Effort.
texting them, anything
Just
of
some
any
effort.
nature. But the thing is I think because there isn't a lot of real good, healthy male modeling in the world for generations. So men really aren't hearing this. They're just hearing, well, it's in front of you. If you walk towards her, she'll like it, and then she'll be ready for you.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's bad.
But that's the logic is that your body doesn't actually start to engage into anything until he's there. So there's this this idea that it's just supposed to happen.
Right.
And if you don't, it's your fault. You don't like me enough.
I've been single. I've been single for a few months now and been dating a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you that the guys I've met up with have zero energy for dating. And I pretty much just tell them now, like, if you don't have the energy to plan a date or to have an idea of something you would like to share with me as an experience, if you can't even come up with an idea, then as the man, how can I like look at you as a leader? Or is my whole life going to be just me providing all of the effort, because I'm sorry, but if I go and meet with you for coffee and we have a good time and you find out, okay, I'm not catfishing you, I am what I look like, we have a great time talking, we even have a little kiss or something, okay? And then the second date, you don't have any effort or inspiration. I'm not saying come meet me as a stranger and take me out for something fancy or have some elaborate thing, but if you like me and you want this to continue, I should be the only, if I'm going to be the one, I should feel special by our next interaction. And I feel like that's my only expectation. I don't need someone to spend money. I don't need somebody to do anything specific. But like you said, remember something about me. What kind of movies do I like? Or what kind of, gardens do I like? Take me for a walk somewhere that, I would think is beautiful. Like you can do a lot of things with effort.
But this is not.
And men are just not there right now.
It's not that.
It's
not that they're not there right now. It's that it's never been trained or taught as it's ever going to need to be important by anyone in generations for generations and generations. It's not happening right now. Like I mentioned the other night somewhere about how in Pinocchio, the little boys turned into little donkeys and ended up on a weird island with some weird men who were like curating little weird boys and giving them cigars. And
that was
like
such
blah, blah,
a
blah.
weird.
Right.
It was Epstein Island.
It's okay. So there you go. So like if this is known and existed before, and we're talking about it again, we're caught in a survival pattern loop of society that keeps destroying itself. And so we've seen it. It's time and time again. It's time and time again. Time and time again. And so you're saying guys right now are in a pattern. Like for me, we should all throw dating out and start to rehumanize each other and practice human behaviors with all the people around us. So
just hanging out.
Somebody said, I think we were talking about it, about like opening doors for women and how women make men feel like you can't open doors anymore. And I think that's a horse shit.
Right.
Because like if you ever open a door for a woman who's holding 4 or 5 things and you're a dude holding shit, you better open that door. Not because she's a woman, but because she's doing something. And I have a joke about Luigi Mangione, and like I'm not going to get into all of the like I'm proud of this guy for killing anybody because I hate that. I hate that he killed a person. And I don't like that. But I remember how everybody got so down on this guy because he was good looking. And they're like, women think he's so because he's good looking. And I'm just like, no, he had a plan. He showed up and he executed the plan. He should have just, had a different plan and executed that, not the person. Like that's the play in the joke. But for me, this is the thing, is that we're still living in a society where we're trained by this belief system that men are supposed to leave the mother and cleave to the woman. And really, if you start to dismantle mental health and codependency and those kind of behaviors, and how culturally moms hand over the reins of this man to this other woman to then be his mother, like those behaviors are interwoven into the fabric of our society as the expectation of what's supposed to happen all the time, rather than why don't you practice treating people well more often than just when it's going to be some potential partner? Because what's going to happen is you're only going to do it for the moment. You're not actually going to be a person that does that. You're going to capture her. She's going to sit there and she's going to be like, well, where's the rest of it? Well, I was only shown that I needed to do this to get you, and then I'm going to set you here, and then I'm going to just keep doing whatever I want to do. That is what's going on. Men are not practiced in humanizing the world around them. in the way that it's necessary, and you're all in a response to it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've met some really great guys too. They got their stuff together.
I think they're good guys.
There's
out there.
lots of good guys out there, but they're all scared to invest emotionally because they've been burned so badly. Just like you women have, but you have to be vulnerable to get anywhere in a relationship.
Right there, vulnerable.
And
vulnerable is the
I think
word.
that's the key. And I think for men, it's all about timing. Okay. So I think you can't force a man to be ready to be in his place in life where he feels like he's ready to be in a relationship. I don't think you can force that. The man has to be in his head feeling secure, feeling stable.
Yeah, but nobody's helping them get there. Like
Right.
that's why you're not finding them. Like you're saying all the great things, but like, and I hear that, and it sounds like, but you're when I hear you talk about this, it's like, how come it's not happening at a level that when I'm dating, that I'm running into this more often than not?
I think that what I'm running into and how I feel about it right now is just that men are scared to be vulnerable in general because they've either been cheated on, lied to, or in society right now, it's easier to just be isolated or to be.
I think that's
you
more
see
so than
something
the other
wrong,
stuff.
and you're becoming vulnerable. Like, oh my gosh, okay, I pretended like I had this really fancy life, and now this person's getting close to me, and now they see, oh, they want to see inside of my apartment, or they want to like get a little closer. It's like when you get to that point where their facade can't be what people know about them, what their social media profile doesn't look like, what the reality is, then they're like, oh, this about you or that about you, or this ghost culture. I haven't been ghosted by people
I have
in a long time, but it's a terrible feeling.
Yeah,
you're becoming emotionally invested in someone that's not even real. And
well, what if they are real? You know,
or they just
like you know them too real. Like that's another thing is you can get too real with people, and then they just
they don't like
can't
being exposed like that.
know you anymore. You know.
Yep. I just I've been.
I don't think men are getting cheated on at a level that's causing the response that you're calling. I don't think men are having relationships enough that them being cheated on is the reason why they're in the place that they are.
I'm not even saying just cheated on. I'm saying maybe they have mommy daddy issues. They have some kind of thing they haven't processed, so they feel weak to vulnerability. They're like, I don't want to be vulnerable.
I think that they are in a place of lack of engagement, lack of modeling, lack of fathers in their lives that actually looked at them, cared for them, held them, touched them, gave them a bottle and given them, instruction on how to be, walk next to them, hold their hand, give them a pat on the back and give them adulation. Like if you look in the mental health of the necessity and the reason fathers should be present in a child's life, even if it is in small moments that are controlled and healthy, the health of that child increases. I went to a Father's Forward. This is a Father's Forward bracelet, and it says they talked about this, and it kind of. Sorry, I'm away from the microphone. It aligned with some stuff that I have been seeing in my own world in this neurodivergent brain. And I mentioned I worked in retail as a young man with this brain, and so I've seen hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of families living and engaging with them and talking to them and feeling them in the world, because I'm a person who grew up feeling the world. I grew up in the 80s where my dad, the one thing I can tell you is he brought me to work with him and I learned how the world worked. I understood at such a young age. And then we traveled overseas to a third world country where life was totally different. As a little kid, your eyes are going, blah, 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 blah. I need to survive. I need to survive. Mom's saying this to survive. Okay, survive, survive, survive. And then you come back to the United States and you're poor. And so it's all survival, survival, survival. And as a little kid, this is what's causing all of this intense, hyper, when you're trying to just be safe, you're trying to find safety, and it rewires your brain to become a person that sees the world like this.
I was just having the conversation with my girlfriend about her husband and her
hypervigilance.
Hypervigilance. I know that you're not like really I don't even know what your religious beliefs are or where you are with, like, I know you believe in a higher power, but I specifically am Christian and I read my Bible like every single day. Like, I've changed my whole entire life around wanting to be more Christ-like and wanting to change my life. And I can say honestly, and I know it's so cliche, but like a lot of the things that I was lacking in myself, I have found through my faith. And I feel like if people, and to talk on the family values and the traditional family structure where it's a dad and a mom and, a household. And like you were saying, that men are taught to leave their mother and cling to their wife and all this stuff. Like, yes, a lot of that, even the Old Testament, we don't even follow the Old Testament because culture's changed. People have changed. We've grown in societies. We've learned things that are healthy and not healthy. But there are still values that you can find in that I've found a lot of safety and comfort in. Instead of trying to seek outside validation, I'm finding that I am enough and I am okay and I'm created exactly how I'm supposed to be. And whatever your faith is, I don't know, even if you just believe in Buddhism or I mean, there's so many things you can have faith in. And if you can just find a way to believe that you're humbling yourself and you're less than the whole universe, the world, our culture, our people, you're just a little teeny piece of it, but you're still so important and you're so perfect how you are. Instead of trying to make everyone else like you, just enjoy existing. Enjoy making friends. Enjoy the air that we have to breathe today, because it could be not here tomorrow.
Right.
Right? And like, I'm so glad we're doing this, because I do feel like everybody's on their own journey. My journey is different than your journey. Everybody's journey is different. And I'm not trying to get all biblical. I was just simply saying that what has worked for me has been my faith. And I think that people are lacking faith. They're lacking humility and in a sense of oneness, right? Like, I don't know where we lost that. And I don't know if it's because our family structure has broken down, or if it needed to be broken down, or what's happening right now in our world.
You are hitting so many like awesome topics that I think we need to like
break
take
down more
into like the next like 16 seasons.
Okay, hold on one second. Okay, we're back. Took a little break. I had to feed my parking meter.
Yeah.
Downtown Frederick problems.
I'm writing notes. I think we left off on dating, right? We were talking about dating in some way.
I wanted to give you a present because it's free swag that I stole from a vendor table.
Oh, awesome.
And I feel like this time of year, you can always use some cheap sunglasses. You just never know when you need some.
Clinton Learning.
Yeah,
Nice.
they had a really cool device that literally projected on all the walls in a gymnasium, and then they had these balls that were interactive, so you could kick the balls at the walls and it would score it, and there was targets set up, and it was insane. It was like the future of gym class.
Speaking
basically.
of cool swag.
Oh yeah,
I'm on the 9th day of my manifestation.
Oh, okay.
So this was my staycation that I believed that I was going to build all of the right moments if I just kept showing up to life. And so the other day, yesterday, I took a walk, and I was walking on East Street, and I ran into a new shop on East Street called Wavelength Wear, where they put your voice on swag and whatnot, and then they have their own
saw that the other day,
their own style in there. And I think that they have a really awesome vibe in there. I love what they're doing, and I just wanted to give them a little plug.
I concur.
I met Matt, the owner, and he gave me a big hug. He was one of my hugs.
Nice.
So this is one of the things, we're talking about dating. We're talking about humanity. We're talking about why are we not experiencing a level of humanity on these dating sites when we meet these people. And I'm not saying men or women either side. I think we need to be practicing how do we engage in moments of close engagement in our everyday lives. And I'm not saying go hug everybody non-consensually. I'm saying if you put the goal of making these kind of connections in your real world, not just expecting that the dream romance that you have been pondering for your whole life since you were a little child is waiting at the end of a click. I think we need to start figuring out how to come back out here and realize that all of those romances aren't actually happening out here without your existence in here and engagement in this world. So I think men a lot of
totally
times.
agree with you.
I
I feel like there are just like so many people though that are like uninspired. Like you're like, what are you doing? Nothing, sitting around watching TV. It's like,
right. So
what?
where's the passion?
Ew,
And
that's
that's what I hear. I hear from a lot of people, and from what I hear from a lot of women, and they look at, and then so in my experience, I am a passionate person. I've been allowed to be my whole life because I just grew into a person that practiced living enough from a child that I'm good with it. Like I wrote down here some notes about being heavier. I gained a lot of weight in life, and I've always struggled with my weight. And I think one of the things that made it really hard for me to lose weight is that I was happy and beautiful, even though I was fat.
Same.
And so like
I've always been thick and happy enough to be like,
so I talk about this sometimes in comedy, but like in the truest sense and the easiest way to put it is, as a young man, I grew up going to Venezuela and visiting my family in Venezuela and my Hispanic family. And I was the same body as I had when I was here. Then when I got off the airplane in Venezuela, there wasn't some other like something happened and I became like
magic portal.
I became Jason Momoa. I don't know. I don't need like I'm not worried about all of that stuff, and I never have been. I think at times I focused on it because I saw there was a focus put on it, but what I realized was in the United States, I was chubby and husky, and I needed to hide all of my curves as a little boy. In Venezuela, everyone called me Super Gordo. And that voice. And as a little American boy in Venezuela, when they called me Super Gordo, you're either going to develop a thick skin or you're going to start to realize, like, they're just loving you and it's okay. And like the funny thing is, at a certain point in countries, when you're the thick one, they know that you're getting fed. You have the money, you got food.
Yeah. In a lot of cultures, that's a sign of wealth and prosperity and, looked after. You want to be.
So what I'm saying is my cultural pride or whatever, my self-love, I think, at a certain point was actually going to kill me if I didn't stop and actually look at what was happening with my body. And so I had a moment where I realized and I was told I needed to lose weight, and I dropped 80 pounds, and over some time, just through lots of changes in my life. Not really a lot of exercise. It was all dietary, and my body kind of normalized out where it is right now. But the biggest loss was about 80 pounds total. And the one thing I realized is what you learn in fatness. Like as a bigger guy, like I learned that I could love in a lot of different ways that weren't always just penetrative. So I became a little, I think, more focused on loving in more ways, but I also was a man who grew up around a lot of women in life, and so I already was having these conversations to understand, what they're talking about, what's important to them, and so it's not something that I had to go and like, find. Like I make a joke that like after 23 years of raising daughters, I'm basically just a big lesbian with a giant clit.
I mean, I think that like, okay, to go back to what you're saying about losing weight and everything, just like we were saying earlier, it's all a matter of, I think, investing in yourself, feeling like your health and your wellness and the way you see yourself, not what you weigh, but your health, your heart rate, your ability to climb a flight of stairs, your ability to bend over and tie your shoes. Like,
get up off the floor.
Those are things you lack energy when you're overweight. You lack energy to play with your children. You lack energy to go and learn how to salsa dance. Like, it's less, you have less energy. You're carrying a lot of weight that your body structurally is not intended to do. So you have pains and aches way before you should. And our society is just, normalize that, normalize it. It's okay. Big is beautiful. Well, big is beautiful, but that doesn't mean it's healthy, right? And if we really care about, our battery's running low. Hold on. So what I was saying is like, yeah, big is beautiful, but doesn't mean it's healthy. And I think that if we're investing in our happiness, like when I was heavy, I was happy. It's not like I wasn't happy, but I've gained and lost weight several times in my life. But
Right.
I can say that my back hurt, my knees hurt,
I don't
things
like
hurt that don't hurt when I'm not 60 pounds overweight, and
Right.
that's quality of life.
right.
You know,
But
So-
like for me, the but after that is the difference. Is I can't add the but. It's like big is beautiful, and you got to leave it there for me. And then you have to ask people what choices are they making for their own personal health, because some bodies can ride big and some cannot, and then there are just more factors that come into play than just big or small, I think, when it comes to that. And I think it's always beautiful to be you and be who you are in every moment, big or small,
1000% agree
big or
with
small, pain or not, that we have to be finding those moments. And I think that was my point was, is that I think I almost loved myself into being unhealthy. And I think I would probably be in a worse situation now if I didn't lose that weight pre-COVID. But I can tell you that one of the biggest missions, that the biggest points in my life that triggered me to want to lose weight was sharing real unconditional love with another person. In those first years that I started to decide, that was not only loving myself, but then also being loved and being seen in love. And I think that has been some of the most transformational moments in my life were those that happened at that time. And I think it was a relationship. It was a self relationship. And then how does my relationship with myself impact people around me well? And I wanted to do that.
I've had some really crazy experiences with getting in shape, going from being out of shape to getting into shape, hiring trainers. And I've always felt like when I push myself, when I dedicate that time, when I get up 2 or 3 days a week to go and commit that time to myself to work out or to make healthier eating decisions, I don't know, I just feel like I'm investing in myself. And I'm a different type of person. I'm a type A personality. I'm going after, seeking, always trying to do better, bigger, faster, stronger, like we talked about before, never feeling like I'm settled or right now present is good enough. I'm
Right.
always seeking and trying to find something. So I'm not saying it's healthy. I'm just speaking from my experience that as my personality type, if I'm not challenging myself, I get super depressed and super bored, and I like to be active and I like to be pushing myself and seeing, can I get a new personal best in the weight room? Can I hike this mountain faster next time? There's just a certain part of me, and that's not for anyone else. I don't even tell other people what I'm
that is,
doing.
what that
It's
goal
just
is,
within me.
Yeah.
I like challenging. That's why I loved golf, because it was me against me against my score yesterday, me on this hole against me and this hole yesterday. It was never against other people. And I just love that is it discipline? The discipline that goes into it.
I think
I don't know what it is. I just
repetition.
really
At a certain
enjoy
point,
that.
we're patterns.
Yeah.
I know that enjoyment is good. Seek joy. If you're getting joy out of something, seek it, chase it, get joy in the best ways that you can right now in life, and that will help you find your way to those healthier behaviors. If we're depleting ourselves of joy, then you're causing a cataclysmic down effect of negative hormones in your life if joy isn't part of your life. So saying, joy is good. Getting to where you need to be personally, you have to figure that out. And I think everybody has to, they have to go through that journey of what works best for you,
Yeah.
I think at a certain point, we got a throaty
Nice.
SS Chevelle, I think, that just
Hey.
drove by.
Was that a Super Sport Nova Super
It was a
Sport
Nova?
or a
It was a
Chevelle?
Nova?
I couldn't tell. It was one of
my
the two.
God. I think,
I don't know, but it was beautiful, whatever it was. It's probably a 68. But yeah, I feel conflicted about that. The idea of chasing joy. I feel like joy is a fleeting thing that we'll never really be able to hold on to. You know what I mean? And that was kind of what I was trying to say, I guess, in less words. But if you're always seeking something, you're never going to be able to enjoy the present space you're in, you know? And I'm the most guilty of that. And I feel like I'm trying, that's kind of my mantra for this year, is to just try to enjoy like where I am and be enough right now, like be okay just being here. And maybe I do have some dishes in the sink, or maybe I am late on one of my bills or something, and I don't really need to worry about that.
Oh,
you know?
I feel
like,
good now.
Right, just
I
let
have
it go.
dishes in my sink and I'm late
That's
on
what
bills.
I'm saying, though, is like, oh, I didn't text this person back. Is it really going to be the end of my life if I don't go and grab my phone and get onto another work conversation right this moment? No, it's
Right.
not going to end the world. I need to give myself space to just exist.
Right, and there
And be
a lot.
enough.
That is a real thing. But how do we get there, and how do we help people? How do we train people to get there? How do you find that? Because like I hear you.
It's not a natural thing. You have to
it
force
is a
the
natural
habit
thing.
of.
It's not. It's a natural thing. It is a back to our nature. Our bodies are natural machines that operate optimally when you give them the right stuff.
Right.
That is systems. The earth operates in harmony and in systems. We use those same behaviors to operate in factories. That our circulatory system and our cells have to operate in harmony in systems, in harmonious systems. And so, you're talking about being a type A personality. And I wrote down here earlier about executive overload for women. And so, like I'm always in charge because no one else shows up. And so this executive overload of like behavior of life is overclocked life. It's that we are trying to do more than we should ever been able to do. And then we're holding ourselves guilty for not getting it done and not reaching those goals. And so for me, it takes a whole re-practicing and retooling how humanity works. And so once you start harmonizing how you operate in the world and how you give yourself grace for every moment, and you start building these new patterns that get us back to how humans operate, operate with each other, operate with themselves. Your systems are operating daily in healthy ways. And again, that's not always going to be focused on, being in shape or whatever that shape each person wants that shape to be.
Some people are trying to gain weight. Some people are trying to lose weight. Some people are, comfortable with how they weigh, but they just want to look different. I feel like it's a little bit like not natural, but the way that the birds don't really worry about the worms coming up out of the ground. I feel like our life is supposed to be a little bit more like that, where we're supposed to exist. The bird doesn't worry about where the worms are going to come from. He just knows the worms are going to be there. And like, if you really think about it, every day of our life, we are enough. And just like that, if we can get into that head space where we're like, hey,
how do you get to that head space, and how do you get everybody else?
I can tell you.
How do you get everybody else there? I mean, I'm just telling you, like you have a lot of other people out here that if you're in that head space, you can't actually be part of a healthy community unless other people are also in a healthy headspace to join you, even if you're thinking in a different headspace. You know what I mean? Like, we can still be in a healthy community, but then, like, how are you getting the other people to also be like, I'm enough? Because what happens in this Lord of the Flies situation we are in, if one person feels enough and everybody else feels like, I'm not enough, I'm not enough, I'm not enough, my precious, my precious, my precious, and they destroy the world around them. And so and then your world gets destroyed because you're enough, for you. But like, how do we get to that point where like,
but those people aren't my
across?
world. That's the thing, is like, I've gotten to a point where I'm like, I mean, I love everybody, but but their opinion of me doesn't change my opinion of me.
No, and I'm not saying that. I'm not saying be movable because of their opinion or anything, but like, we have to, like, if they just start destroying the world, which is kind of what's happening around us in some ways, there are some things being destroyed. How do we help those people who are destroying to stop destroying?
I think
because our world
actions speak
will start
louder
to be
than
affected.
words. Like, I know a perfect example would be drinking. All right. I used to go out and drink a lot. Like every single day I was drinking, and I was hanging out with people that were drinking, and we were best friends, and we were so cool together, and we were besties, and like, but all at the end of the day we had in common was that we liked to drink and go to a bar and act like idiots. We didn't have anything else in common.
No.
So the moment I got a little sober and started going to meet up with these people, I realized how little I have in common with them. Some of those people have stayed at the watering holes, and some of them have seen how my life has changed and have stopped drinking and have become more self-aware. And so if you ask me how to change, I think that you must be the change you wish to see in the world.
Right.
Lead by example, especially start at home. Start at home with your children, leading by example.
Right.
Start with that. Start with your small circle of influence that you have. Make a change in your life and show them. Start inviting them to the better side where the grass is greener. I think that's it. That's all you can do.
Well, they say the grass is greener where you fertilize it,
Exactly.
or you water
That's
it.
what I'm saying.
And
Investing in yourself. That's where it's greener.
This whole
Mm-hmm.
like the only way you're going to see the world better is you start to heal yourself, start to work on the things that are in your way that insulate you from relationship with yourself and the people around you. And you're not going to just do that on your own. You're going to need to go talk to somebody or be around people. If you've never had it, you've never experienced it, you're not just going to decide it one day and then it's just going to happen. Like, you can't change generational trauma just by deciding it one day. You have to start practicing patterns.
Mm-hmm.
You have to start new patterns and start practicing those in the world. And so for me, a pattern, I like to learn a new name every day. And that means that my face is up, I'm outside, and I'm around people. If I'm going to learn a new name, like some people, you need to start with like learn a new name a week. But truly, if you feel like you're not being seen in the world, you feel like no one's dating you, maybe you're not dateable. Have you ever thought of that? Like, everyone gets so sad, nobody likes me, and all. You have all these incels out there that think the world was supposed to be made for them, and they're supposed to just walk right into some lady, and that's supposed to be there, and you're all going to be ready for that. Like, that's the thing, is if you're not practicing loving in real life in real time, if you're just reading about it, you're not actually going to learn about it, and you're not going to get there. And men, this is one thing, men who have not practiced loving for their lifetime are not going to automatically decide to be loving and be there for you. It's not going to happen. They have to do the work to go back into their little child selves and start figuring out, where did I stop being loved and seen? I need to put myself around that, practice that around me as well. And so if you got people in your life who need support and in ways that you feel like you can help, start to help them outside of yourself. That's nurturing behavior that will actually give it back to yourself.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that there are moments where I have started practicing love that I know set me on a course to be this person sitting right here on this camera right now. And I will never undo the love that I've given out in the world. I've never believed that it wasn't meant to be given. And I know that it's going to keep doing the work that it was meant to do in those people.
We're not, it's not like we have a level like, okay, your battery of love is like empty and now you don't have any love left to give to anybody. Like,
no, it keeps
there's
growing.
always so much more love. And the more you invest in yourself, the more love you have to give to other people. And it's so much easier and more freeing to give it away when you have it inside of you. And one thing I would love to understand about you, Bryan, is what is your self-care routine that makes you feel grounded, that keeps you grounded? Like, what are the things you do to feel whole?
I keep people in my life that I practice communicating and loving and being open with. I try to. We can get deep here and get personal, but
I was just wondering, do you go for a walk?
I try to find time for walks.
Mm-hmm.
I have a belief in the purpose, and I feel like I have a purpose in life to affect change in lives around me, and to continue to unravel like why I exist and the way that I exist. and that I have seen enough goodness that I've shared in the world around me that there's something wrong with the way the world was taught to me, that there's not much that I think I need to buy in with it. And so I just kind of live in my own space, and believe in the good that I'm doing without shame.
Yeah.
Because shame is used to control and was used to hurt us and convince us of all of these like made up structures and scaffolds of life around us, like all these belief systems that are actually being used to hurt people. And everyone's like, we need to push against them. And then everybody's like, we need to follow them, but we need to push against them, but we need to follow them, but we need to push against them, push against the patriarchy, but let's get married again, like according to all of these structures. Well, men created all of the structures that have led to all of the belief systems that are around us. So if we're following them and then tearing them apart and following, like you're gaslighting yourself in the whole system. And so for me, because I have gotten to live, like I talk about it like Mario and the one level on early Mario games where you could like crouch and then you like you're behind the screen.
Yeah.
And you can go and get the flute. Like somehow, because of a lot of things that happened in my life, I kind of got the flute. And I am okay living here. And I see the better things that I've done in the world around me being who I am and not abandoning that for all of these structures that the world is trying to put on us. And then we're trying to like uphold them for everybody else, like.
I mean, I definitely fall into traditional values. Like I want to find a husband. I am celibate until I do that. Like I'm looking for somebody that has the same exact goals and values and wants the same things. And it's not impossible to find, but it is. I only need one man, and I only want one.
And I get that. And I'm not saying that isn't something that I want myself. I'm just saying that the way it was, like the way you structured it, the way you just said it just now, is all of the reason why I want to tear it all down. Because
but why
the way
is it
you
bad
said
that there's something traditional that works for some people?
I don't think it works for enough people for me to believe in it, that it actually is working for those people. I think if you look at the numbers, that it actually doesn't work enough for people to believe that it works the way that you structured it, the way you said it. And that's the biggest reason, is that it's a numbers thing. And at this point, I'm just like, I have participated in so much more benefit in the world trying to understand what love really means around me than trying to retrofit this archaic idea on it that was placed on us because we needed farm help.
I mean, I don't think that traditional values are just about being farm help. I think that the same way that children need a family structure to be healthy, to have a mom and a dad in the household.
I don't think that's true either.
Raised better. You don't think that kids that have parents are raised healthier?
No.
You think that kids that are in the foster care system are better off than kids that have their parents in their lives?
I don't think that's saying that.
So if a mom and a dad are still together,
orphans.
No, I'm just saying that I think that if a mom and a dad are still together and they have a family household, I think that statistically those kids are going to be more like have a more advantageous life. That's why they say white privilege exists. That's what white privilege supposedly is, right? That's what statistically it says.
I don't think that's what white privilege actually means either.
Well, I'm saying it's part of it. It's part of it. Like saying that kids are growing up in a household. Yeah, and they have a historical, like a family of things that they can pass down, land and money and inheritance. And so those things wouldn't exist if those families were broken up and weren't traditionally built on those values of staying together.
Right. And so success is based on land acquisition and money that is passed down to families. And so that, I think, is where it all breaks down. Is that what human success really is meant to be? Because like I can see why I hold my values very strongly, and she's sitting right there of why I want to tear down all of this stuff for her and be bold and actual about it. Because in a world where you are finding it hard to meet men where they are, and they meet you where that you are. And in the general trend of what I see around me in women, it's Women's Month still. And what I hear from them is even women who are in relationships and marriages, who are married for years and years and years and years. And my parents who are married, my mom still feels like she's a single parent at 70 years old. She grew up, she raised us all like she was a single mom. And I had a dad at home. And so we were raised under these Christian values. And so at this point in my life, when I look at those Christian values and I look at that upbringing, I am so grateful that I am not raising my child under those values. And one of them is specifically, especially because of her age, and you mentioned celibacy and as a piece of this, which is something that I totally don't want to put on her at all, is that when women are told to wait for marriage or this coupling with this other man in this life, that this perfect union is waiting for them to show up to. And what I've seen most women deal with is they end up having to show this man everything for the rest of their life, and they never feel like they're actually seen or loved or cared for in the majority of those situations. In general, scientifically, the data points to this in my experience. And
that's what I think is wrong with the world right now, honestly, is that we have all these kids growing up like, okay, let's back up to the fact that your mom and dad are still married. Okay,
the expectations.
If your mom and
too.
dad weren't married, where would your mom be right now without your dad's income, or vice versa? Like,
my
would
mom
they be
would probably
well off
have
without each other?
Become a millionaire mogul, if she actually lived on her own and did her own thing. I believe that from what I've seen from her, from what I've heard from her story. I've watched her hang her hat up for something in her life that I really believe that she would have done so much more than she ever did. And I mean, that's that. But for me, one thing that I've seen is women end up waiting for this moment. They get married to some guy, and then back to this believe in the orgasm, are actually never actually seen or shown up for their womanness that they've put on the shelf, waiting and waiting and waiting for this moment. And then they're like, okay, I'm tying my life to this forever. And then they never are seen.
But that's like saying, okay, like tomorrow, what if your dick just stopped working? So if that's all that you bring to the table, that's pretty bad. If all you can do is make me orgasm, then we really don't even have a relationship.
But my part was using that as a humanity.
I'm just saying,
it was just saying your humanity.
I think that the
like
idea of a traditional marriage is that you have a relationship that is built on integrity and on trust and on
I understand,
spiritual
but also
grounding.
needs to be built on your
morals.
Humanity.
I mean, but
And
where do we get
that's the
humanity and morals from? Like, what do we base
Morals
it off
have been
of?
imposed on us by men, and humanity is biological.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with all that, but it's okay to
I understand,
disagree and
but you
agree
have
on
to
disagree.
When you start practicing it differently, it starts to unravel a lot of things. And like there are a lot of points where our human health is being asked to be put on hold for these morals that were placed on us. You actually start to undo healthy mental health when you start to follow these morals that have been placed on our society. And it is in it. Throw it into ChatGPT. Be like, let me take standard American Christian morals and put them against the standard for mental health right now. And it will tear it apart.
All right. Well, I think that I'm done with this conversation.
Awesome.
All right.
I knew we were going to have some fun ones.
All right. I got to get going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Till next time, America.
Yeah.
This episode of Fridays with Bryan is brought to you by the Goddess Group and the home of Everything Frederick, right here at 401 East Market Street in downtown Frederick. Stop by and say hello.